This evening, the Secretary of the Army is now responding to a CBS News investigation into sexual assault in the military. Tonight, in part 3 of the investigation, survivors explain why they think the military's program to combat sexual assault is broken.
Shauna Culp says she was raped in 2010. She reported it, but her case didn't make it through the military justice system until this year.
By the time it finally got to a court-martial, your rape kit had been destroyed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was just frustrating because you put up with all this and you try to get something done, and by the time that it finally gets done, it's like just close enough.
And just close enough because at the court-martial, your assailant was acquitted because only 5 said he was guilty. And you needed 6?
That was still a majority of the people. So I feel like everything is set up against you no matter what.
And Norah joins us live from Washington, D.C. now. Norah, this is such an emotional interview, and you just had this response from the Secretary of the Army. What else can we expect to hear tonight?
Good evening, Paula. As you know, with any victim of sexual abuse, it's difficult for them to tell their story and in many cases to get justice. But the military lives by a different code of justice. And the military is out there to protect America, but they're not protecting their own. And so we're going to tell the stories tonight of many survivors who, when they did the right thing and reported the assault, they then felt like they experienced additional retaliation and harassment. And that's not just the stories that we talk to. These are according to the own Defense Department surveys. 2/3 of those who serve in the military reported to the Pentagon that they faced additional retaliation after reporting their abuse or assault. And so it really raises the question, what is going on? Why is this happening? So we're airing part 3 tonight, but then just late this afternoon, we get an alert from the Army that they're going to respond to this. And it's pretty incredible, as the Secretary of the Army just putting out a statement saying that he is deeply saddened and concerned, and acknowledging that this program that was put in place to help soldiers, in his word, hasn't achieved its mandate. What he's really saying is it isn't working, and now we're learning from the first time, after all our reporting for over a year, the Army now saying they're going to have a new plan December 8th, a new action plan to finally address what's going on.
Wow. Well, no American can be happy about those numbers that you were just talking about a few minutes ago, and clearly the response is going to be immediate because for more than a decade, the military has been saying it would address the issue of sexual assaults, and clearly things haven't gotten better.
No, that's right. And in fact, in the last decade, the number of sexual assaults has more than doubled. And at the same time, according to Pentagon figures, the number of courts-martial have gone down. Now, the amount of administrative actions have gone up. But again, why isn't there disciplinary action being taken against these alleged perpetrators? And so we address that question. Why? Is it that there's a cultural problem within the military, or is it there's a reporting problem? A lot of people say you can't keep the reporting up the chain of command because the commander is not going to want to adjudicate or punish someone who or her that is under him or her. And so that's part of the problem. And I think I mentioned that SHARP program. That's this program that Congress and the Pentagon created more than 15 years ago to address sexual assault, and that the Secretary of the Army is saying tonight doesn't work. We talked to whistleblowers who actually worked at that program, who were hired to help victims. They tell us the same thing. So, you know, I have to tell you, just after all this reporting, it's just incredible to hear that the Army is finally going to address this. I think it's part of our reporting. I also think it's what happened to Vanessa Guillen, the woman in Fort Hood who was so brutally murdered, and what happened there. There's been a lot of attention now. It's just reached a breaking point. And as the Secretary of the Army said today, if we do not have the trust of America, nothing else matters.
All right, Norah O'Donnell, thank you so much. That breaking news and more tonight at 6:30. Norah will have more of that interview, plus other survivors of sexual assaults in the military. And tomorrow on CBS This Morning, what Norah learned from whistleblowers hired to work inside the military sexual assault program about the problems they saw and how cases were handled. David?
All right, Paula, well, two